Amber-Colored Dreams by ELL Williams. 1914. Prologue. John looked at the brush growing near the orchard, then moved very slowly towards it. There was movement there. He didn't want to be heard, so he did his best to move quietly, but he didn't think it was working because he could hear the blood rushing in his ears and his heart thudding in his chest. If he could hear that, surely whatever was in the brush could as well. At least, that's what he told himself, as he slowed his breathing and continued steadily towards the brush. When he was within 3 paces of it, the rabbit that he'd expected was hiding within it saw him and darted away. John held his breath, his excitement frozen, and in that heartbeat of stillness, he threw the stick that he'd been carrying at the fleeing rabbit. John didn't breathe again until the stick connected. When it did, he was all teeth. Thoroughly pleased with himself, John rushed to the rabbit in case he had only stunned it. As he got closer, he could see that he was correct. The rabbit shook off its daze, but John's throw had broken something in the rabbit, and it couldn't get away. It squealed a god-awful sound, and John quickly and efficiently broke the rabbit's neck. He didn't like that part, but it was necessary for him to eat, so he didn't dwell on it. Instead, John appreciated his accomplishment. This was a successful hunt. John tied the rabbit to a string at his belt and started looking for other small game to add to his collection. He was quite handy with that throwing stick.
"What are you doing on my land?"
That voice carried an authority that knew it would receive an answer immediately. John turned around in shock at hearing the voice. As focused as he was on listening for small creatures, there was no way someone should have caught him unaware. The fact that the man wasn't alone but was accompanied by a woman added to John's surprise.
"Boy, I know you hear me. What are you doing on my land?"
"Passing through, sir," John said.
"You killed that rabbit on my land?"
John could hear anger in the man's voice. It was clear to John that the man wasn't asking a question. He was only looking for an excuse, one that he didn't need to do something. John gripped the stick in his hand tighter as his stomach roiled and sweat broke out on his skin. He was dealing with a grown man more than twice his size. He didn't know if he'd be able to run away or fight this man off. Part of him wanted to throw the stick at the man's head like he'd done the rabbit. He'd certainly be able to get away then. Another part of him knew that a black boy striking a white man would only lead to more trouble.
"I'm talking to you, boy!"
There was more heat in his voice now, and the man started to draw closer. John could smell the violence that was about to occur. He'd fight. He'd have to. Young though he was, he knew that such a course of action would see someone dead, whether it was him or some other black boy that looked like him.